I have always loved music, rock stars, guitars, being a DJ. That led to me working on the #1 comedy of all time. Now I do warm-up and stand-up. I combined comedy and music. It makes me happy. That's why this is the Scott Blugrind Happy Hour, a talk show about comedy and music. Tonight on Scott Bluegrind's Happy Hour Comedy and Music Talk Show. Our very special guest is Ryan Spencer Cook. He's going to tell us about touring the world with Gene Simmons and Ace Frehley from Kiss. Plus, we have a special Kiss version of the Fav Four. We have the guest test as always with Dio and Ozzy. And another episode of The Blue Dinosaur from Joey's Refrigerator, episode number 2. But first, let's learn more about Ryan Spencer Cook. Tonight on Scott Bluegrind's Happy Hour, guitarist, singer, touring the world with Gene Simmons and Ace Frehley, Ryan Spencer Cook. If you've ever seen rock and roll on cruises, one of the biggest, one of the best of all time is the Kiss Cruise. And there's one band besides Kiss who's played every single one of them. And that's the Big Rock Show starring Mr. Ryan Spencer Cook right there. You've done them all. Then you get a message. Gene Simmons wants to have lunch with you.
Yeah.
What happened there?
It was amazing. Well, because I didn't know what was going to go on, and the lunch kept getting pushed to the next day, the next day, the next day. And then all of a sudden, we're the last day of the cruise.
Oh, wow.
And we go to lunch, and we just start talking, and we're shooting the breeze. And we were there for about an hour. And basically, even though I met him several times over the years, we never talked. You know, we just kind of sat around. You know, we would always be very quick. Hey, how are you? Good to see you, and move on. So at the end of this lunch, he just finally poses the question, hey, I've seen you on here for several years now. I'm going to go on a solo tour. What would you think about putting together a band for me?
Did your mind go?
Absolutely,
it
did.
Oh, man.
Absolutely it did. And it was a great moment, and he was super nice. And he stayed in touch with me really regularly right after that, just like he said we would.
Wow.
And 3 months later, we were at our first and only rehearsal, and then we went on the road. And it was just awesome. He's just so much fun to work with.
That is insane. So who's the first person you call after that? Oh, you're on the ship, so that must have been tough.
So I couldn't call anybody.
You followed up by playing with Ace Frehley. When I look at it from an outsider, it looks like you went on vacation with your dad, and then you went on vacation with your crazy uncle.
That's exactly like. And I'm going to use that analogy from this point forward.
Whatever your dad says, forget about it, right?
Ace is great. They're just so totally different. Like we are with Gene all the time when we're on the road together.
Yeah.
And Ace, we never see him unless we're on stage.
Really?
You know, he really keeps to himself, and he's in his room all the time. He'll go out shopping sometimes, but we never see him until we get on stage, really. And then with Gene, we were just with him all the time, which was so much fun because, you know, if you're with him, he feels like he's got to entertain you. So that always made everything a lot of fun with him.
He's so smart too, about so many different subjects. He can talk about anything.
Oh, and he'll tell you. Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about Ace Frehley joining the Gene Simmons band in Minneapolis, and then in Australia? How did that work out that you guys became Ace's band as well?
Well, what happened was we were doing an event, like you said, with Cheap Trick played with us in Minneapolis at the opening of a new baseball stadium one night. And it was fantastic. Great night. I mean, sold out. It was beautiful, beautiful, awesome night. And you know how much we love Kiss and Cheap Trick. So for the band, it was just win-win for us. A lot of fun.
Right.
So part of the deal that evening, the promoter got Ace to agree to come do 4 songs with Gene at the end of our Gene set. And this would mark the first time Gene and Ace had performed together on the same stage in 13 years since Ace left the band, whatever number time that was, right? So first time 13 years, they get along great. We do 4 songs, and then that's it. Done. Everybody hugs, says, hey, thanks, that's awesome. And then we were scheduled to go to Australia probably 2 months after that. The Australian promoter caught wind of Ace playing with us and laid out the idea, hey, what if Ace Frehley was special guest on the Gene Simmons Australian tour?
Right, that's news.
Gene blessed it. Yeah, Gene blessed it. And then Ace called Gene and said, hey, look, your band was great a couple months ago. How would you feel if they played with me as well? And I don't have to bring a band. And Gene said, ask Ryan. So the way it went. And when Ace asked me, I said, hey, I'm flattered. We'd love to. Let me get back to you. And I had to call Gene and go, look, are you really saying you're okay with it, or are you okay with it? He goes, I'm okay with it. He goes, if you want to do it and it won't affect what you're doing with me, do it. So we got to play with half a Kiss all through Australia. We played with Gene. We go change clothes, dry off, kind of rearrange, go back out, or play with Ace, then go back out, play with Gene. And we did that all through Australia.
Wow.
It was great. And then Gene had to leave to go begin the farewell end of the road tour.
Yeah.
So he basically handed us off to Ace, and we've been with Ace ever since.
So touring with Ace Frehley and Gene Simmons, I can't think of 2 more completely different people, but
they're not
2 legendary people. Can you give me a lesson you learned from Gene and a lesson you learned from Ace?
Sure. Gene, I'll start with, just because we played with Gene first. I would just say the one thing with him is just nothing beats hard work. There's no substitute for hard work. And even as much as I have worked hard at a lot of stuff over the years, but I can also tell you moments where I've been lazy, you know, and when you take stock and you look at things, talking to him every day really made us, the whole band, realize that we hadn't worked as hard as we thought that we had worked, because he never stops.
Yeah.
He never stops. People talk about how educated he is and how rich he is and how blah, 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 all this is. Gene works on Gene, and Gene works on Kiss. Whatever he's working on, he's always just so into it. And he does work on a lot of things at once. And therefore, sometimes, you know, some things don't get as much attention as the other, I would say. But he pays attention to things. He knows when something's working, and he knows when to let something go. And that guy's always working. I mean, he said to us, he's like, there's nothing wrong with vacations. I just don't like him. He goes, I would hang myself. He just loves to work, you know? And it's just like I said, that's the one thing that I really did learn from him. Nothing beats hard work. There's no substitute for hard work. Yeah. You can say anything you want, but until you roll up your sleeves and go do something, that's going to be the quickest way to get anything. And he is the perfect example of that. This is what he and his mom went through coming to this country and
absolutely
and everything, you know. He is a true testament to that. From Ace, man, I would just say that
Ace. I love Ace. I love them both so much.
As I work with them, and Jeremy said this, so I'm going to quote Jeremy, but he said, and I agree with it, he said, man, after knowing these guys now, he was the only 2 things that I think those guys really ever had in common is that they were in the same band together.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
They've both been incredibly kind to us. And I can't believe that we've actually been able to play with half of Kiss.
Yeah.
Original Kiss, you know? I mean, I just can't believe it. I'm grateful. But as far as learning something from Ace, I've learned that he doesn't change things up. He's a creature of habit.
Creature of habit.
So as far as a lesson, I don't think I've learned any lessons, but I've learned a lot about him. And what I mean by the creature of habit is Ace is like Seabiscuit. Once he gets on something and it starts working, it's tunnel vision. And he goes that way with it. It's very Groundhog Day with Ace.
Yeah.
Where we get up, we know what we're going to do, we know what we're going to play, and we know what the show's going to be. With Gene, we never played the same set twice. Never.
Really?
So about Ace, I learned he's very creature of habit, and I know that, he's solid. I can count on him for what we need to count on him for. With Gene, I learned a lesson just about working and stuff. So it's man, they couldn't be any more opposite. Like I said, the one thing, besides being the same band, the one thing that they do have in common that I love is that they've both been awesome to us.
Yeah. It's like when your parents get divorced and you grow up and you're like, how did these two ever hook up in the first place?
That's a good example.
Everybody thinks of Gene Simmons as Gene the Demon, Gene the personality. What about Gene the bass player? Can you tell me a little bit about Gene the actual bass player?
Yeah, we always listen to his, like a really good example is like he always does walking bass lines, right? And when it calls for it, he'll just do straight da 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 da, right? Mm-hmm. But he has some really cool singable bass lines. But until you're standing on stage next to him, he really has a very identifiable sound and style, just because of the percussiveness he plays with and the way he dials in an amp. He's just an Ampeg guy.
Yeah. But
he always gains it up a little bit. It's always a little dirty and always a little distorted. Yeah. And not all bass. Lemmy did that a lot, obviously.
Oh, Lemmy.
People know.
Oh, yeah. What a thick-ass sound.
I know, right? Well, he played through Marshall guitar heads.
Yeah.
I mean, those were Marshalls that Lemmy played through. So that's a whole different thing.
Hold on a sec. To Lemmy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, absolutely. But Gene just, between the percussiveness and the tone that he dials in that's really dirty and kind of a God of Thunder, scary kind of thing.
Right.
If I pick up the bass and with the exact same settings, doesn't sound like Gene. If you picked it up and played this, but when Gene does it and you get him, that guitar, and that amp setting, it's amazing. And his skill as a bass player is off the charts. So underrated.
Oh, Ace Frehley, lead guitar.
Ace, a great guitar player. Definitely influenced by the 50s and a Chuck Berry kind of style. Being so close to him, what makes Ace's guitar solos special and unique to him?
Well, you met the one thing I think make him so special is he's truly a stylist. And you mentioned one thing that it was very Chuck Berry-ish, those licks.
On the root note.
And he talks about Jimmy Page a lot, too, about how much he loved Jimmy Page and that kind of. And they're always majored in the major, minor, pentatonic blues scales. That's one thing that those three guys that Ace picked up from the other two guys, right?
Yeah.
But I always kind of feel like there's one commonality between every solo that Ace has ever done on every record, because he has those bends. But the thing is, though, he's got a way of throwing in that little left every once in a while that makes it interesting to where it's not just a scale in a row.
Right. There's a little,
you know what I mean?
Phrasing.
And the climbs, like that, he can climb from fret 1 up to 18 and make it sound musical to where it's not just playing notes in a row from a scale. But Ace has some very signature licks, and I think that he pulls those all the time into making them, the solos that you and I ended up being able to sing.
One of my big dreams is getting to play Japan. I know you and the Gene Band went to Japan. Can you tell us some stuff that went down there?
Yeah, you know what? I always tell people going there, because when I was a kid, I didn't really care that much about school. I didn't pay attention, right? And when I was in grade school, I feel like I learned about Japan because of KISS, just because there was so much coverage of them going over there. You remember that?
KISS and Cheap Trick.
Yeah.
That made me want to go there.
Always footage of them in the city, and in Tokyo and Osaka and Nagoya and everywhere, and all in front of all the ancient ruins and all that. But anyway, it made me interested in it. So fast forward, and we know their infatuation with Kiss. Fast forward, us getting to go there with someone from Kiss, and people always ask what it was like arriving with him in public places. And all I can tell people that are old enough to know who the Beatles are is it was like being with a Beatle.
Wow.
Just the attention and the admiration and the nuttiness that went with it. It was like being with a Beatle.
Oh, that's so cool.
It really was. And one of the cool things about being with Gene also was Gene took such good care of us. Wherever Gene stayed, we stayed.
Nice. That's good to hear.
Wherever Gene traveled, we traveled. He made sure we were always together. So that being said, what I'm getting to, so not only did we get to see Tokyo firsthand, because we'd been there before and everything, it's different being with him because we were seeing it from how Kiss sees it. Or how Gene sees it. Meaning the place that we were always in St. Regis or the Ritz-Carltons or the whatever. And and you're up on the whatever floor overlooking Tokyo. And anybody who hasn't seen Tokyo, it's like Times Square times 100.
Yeah. Tokyo Tower. Did you go up there?
Yeah. But we did not go up Tokyo Tower, but saw it. But it's a lot cleaner than Times Square.
Yes.
But it's like Times Square times 100. Just the lights and the architecture and the everything. And there's just the history there, man. It was amazing. And the record stores are crazy. And the shopping's crazy. And it just never seems like there's enough time there. So going there with those guys was just insane. I hope we get to do it again.
I know a lot of fans in Japan give really personal gifts to the musicians. Did you guys get anything from the fans in Japan?
Man, it's funny. They do their research and find out things that you like.
Oh, great. Money. Give me money now.
Yeah, money. I really like money. They found out I love Evel Knievel. And do you remember the Evel Knievels we had when we were kids?
The greatest toy ever?
They got, someone showed up with a mint unopened, her name is Yuko.
What's up, Yuko?
With a mint 70s Japanese Evel Knievel. All the Japanese is right on the box, everything besides and just stuff like, man, it was amazing. They're just so nice and so polite and so gracious and just love the shows and they love the band and and we're not fooling. We're not, we understand they're there because of Gene. They're not there because of us. But to have so many people be so nice to you does make you feel good going over there. Just it's an awesome country. I just love it.
Guest test. That's right. It's guest test time with Scotty B. And as always, we got Ronnie James Dio.
Yeah.
And Ozzy Osbourne. Let's win some money for charity. Guest test. Okay.
Cool.
Tonight we're playing the guest test to win for the ASPCA. Let's learn a little bit more about them. Today's charity is the ASPCA, a national leader in animal rescue and protection, working tirelessly to put an end to animal abuse and neglect. Please donate at aspca.org. Good. All right, here we go. Question number 1 is a Ryan question. You ready for this? Okay. Here we go. Which famous Ryan starred with Billy Crystal in When Harry Met Sally?
Oh, I can picture him.
No, I could give you a hint with a lot of reverb on it. Do you want it?
Yes.
It's a girl's name, and it's her last name.
Oh my God. I'm gonna miss it. Who is it?
It's a girl. How about a little bit less reverb hint? It's the last name.
Oh, Meg Ryan.
Meg Ryan. I don't know. We don't know yet till we ask Ronnie James Dio.
Yeah.
That is correct. You win. It is Meg Ryan. Oh,
Meg Ryan.
She's really happy you won.
Yes! No! Yes! No! Yes!
So stupid.
Okay, I love it.
Okay. All right, now it's time for the $5 question. Here we go. Who played Taylor in A Very Merry Christmas? It's a hint. You have performed with them.
Played Taylor in A Very Merry Christmas, and I have performed with them.
I can give you a hint.
Please.
The Demon.
Gene Simmons.
Let me ask Dio if that is correct.
Yeah, yeah.
That is correct. It is Gene Simmons, who also played Satan in A Very Satan Christmas.
Okay.
You know,
Of course he did.
No! No!
all right, that brings us to the $10 question. Look at these handsome young people. That's the band Hair of the Dog.
Yeah.
A great band I was a fan of. Here we go. Here's your question. The name Hair of the Dog refers to a very famous expression. What does the expression really mean?
Hair of the dog that bit you. So it's a drinking phrase.
It's a drinking.
If you're hungover.
There's more.
If you're hungover.
Right. That's part of it. That's the use. But where did the original term hair of the dog that bit you? What was it a cure for?
Oh, a hangover.
They used it later as for a hangover, but the term has an older origin. I could give you a hint.
Please.
It's a disease.
I'm going to go with rabies, Alex.
Okay, let's see what Dio has to say.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't make me destroy you.
Okay, I'm trying to mix it up.
I love it. It works.
It worked. Okay, that is absolutely correct. It is rabies, an old expression. Here we go.
Okay.
The $15 question. What year did Ace Frehley audition for Kiss?
1973.
Let me ask Dio, what do you think?
Yeah, yeah.
That was my kind of leaning back and feeling it one. And the answer is absolutely correct. 1973. Here we go. Van Halen question. This one is a really good one. Okay. We all love Van Halen. On the song, Could This Be Magic? Who is the uncredited female vocalist?
That would be the lovely, talented, and attractive Valerie Bertinelli.
Let me ask Ronnie James Dio.
No! No!
But since this is for charity, I'm going to give you a rock and roll hint. It's one of these four people. Bette Midler, Patty Smyth, Nicolette Larson, or Rindia Williams.
Well, I guess I'm going to have to go with the Nicolette Larson on that one.
That's right, the lovely Nicolette Larson. That was revealed in David Lee Roth's Crazy from the Heat. Who sang that? Oh yeah, let's give a round of applause. We're giving money for charity, and you might be saying, "Hey, $20 for charity," but this is where you guys match my donation, and we help out some animals. What do you think of that?
I love it. That buys a lot of kitty litter.
Hey, Paul, you ready for Fav Four? I don't know. Maybe we should do something special for Ryan. Maybe we can make it about Kiss. We don't have costumes. We can imagine. What? You look just like Paul. I am Paul. Hey, Ryan, what's your favorite movie?
Okay, King Kong, 1976. Smokey and the Bandit. E.T. and Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Who's your favorite actor up there on the silver screen?
Christian Bale. Denzel Washington. Will Ferrell.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to go, the last one, I got to go with Pacino.
Who makes you laugh, Ryan? Who's your favorite comedian?
Steve Martin, Eddie Murphy. I love Martin Short. And I'm currently a big fan of Kevin Hart.
Who's your favorite bloke on the electric guitar?
I'm still always, first and foremost, always a big Jimmy Page fan. Always. Love Jeff Beck. I love Brad Whitford from Aerosmith so much. And always King Edward is always going to be in there. Eddie Van Halen, always.
Nice.
Love it. Love it.
Who's your favorite on the bass guitar?
Okay, Berdine White from Earth, Wind & Fire.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. McCartney. Simmons. And today, who am I going to pick for the fourth?
Richard Simmons?
He's the best. Who will I pick for number 4 today? I think Trujillo is just awesome. Robert. I think Robert's just awesome.
Yeah, great.
Because, man, a lot of people only know him from Metallica, but, man, his roots, I mean, he's not just a hard rock guy. That guy goes deep. Really like that guy a lot.
Yeah. Who's your favorite lead singer?
So I got to put David Lee Roth in there just because, you know, what he did in Van Halen, those first 6 records,
right?
Vocally and what he did at a show, amazing. Plant, I absolutely love. Tyler, I absolutely love. Freddie Mercury, I absolutely love. 4 slots is just not enough.
What's your favorite song by Kiss?
Again, that changes every day. Okay, so today I'm going to go with I Stole Your Love, right? Flaming Youth for sure is always on that list off of Destroyer. King of the Nighttime World, still just absolutely love, and Watching You.
Hey, Ryan, what's your favorite tasty munchie?
It's going to be Hershey's with almonds, lime-flavored Tostitos, pretzels, and Juji Fruits.
Ryan's Fav Four.
Hey, bud. Let's party.
I remember I lived right above Fox and Hound, and I went down to meet you and our friend Mark Comstock, and I walked in wearing a pretty fancy black T-shirt. And you said, "Did you get that from the Paul Stanley yard sale?" So that's what I remember. Good stuff.
And then we were friends. We have a mutual friend, Mark. And then you even came to a taping of Friends.
We did. We did because of you. It was fantastic.
Do you remember which episode it was?
It was the one where she proposed to him. And I remember they were eating pizza in the pizza parlor on one side one night. And then they walk in and all the candles were lit. Ooh. And Chandler walked in and Monica proposed to Chandler.
That was a special night. The audience was like, woo.
That was a big one. And you took us through the Friends living room, the Central Perk, everything. Great day. I still tell my friends about that and about you when we talk about Friends. Because, you know, who doesn't talk about Friends all the time?
I know. I do.
Yeah. I still love it.
In fact, tonight we got a spin-off. It's called The Blue Dinosaur from Joey's Refrigerator. Here it is.
I love it. That's great.
Blue Dinosaur. Blue Dinosaur. Blue Dinosaur. Blue Dinosaur. Blue Dinosaur.
a lot of diehard Kiss fans, of course, long for the original four.
Right.
I've been a band leader, and I understand that Gene and Paul, they're older. They like having the rock, steady guys they have in Kiss now because they can lean on them and they're steady.
Yep.
Can you understand the difference between what the fans want and then the practicality that Gene and Paul feel with keeping the current lineup?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll give you what I think is a very safe answer, or a very honest answer, but also safe in the sense that I'm going to put it this way. You weren't there and I wasn't there, and none of the Kiss fans were there with the four original guys ever.
Right.
Only those four original guys know what those four original guys went through. Being friends with Ace, I'd love to see him get everything that he wishes for. And being with Paul and Gene, running Kiss since they never left the band, I understand why it's very near and dear to them, and they're very protective of it. But as far as the four of them getting to work together again and everything, I can't comment on what I think it's a good or a bad idea because I wasn't there when Kiss were together in the heyday. We've only read about it in books. And,
Right.
every story that you read, the thing about stories, I always think, is something my dad told me a long time ago was there are two sides to every story, and the truth usually lies somewhere in the middle.
Exactly. Right.
I think they both have really strong arguments as to why things did and didn't work. But, man, I can't weigh in on it because any four of those guys could come to me and go, you weren't there and you don't know.
Right.
And you know what? They're right.
So here's another part of that. Would you like to see when there is a very last Kiss show,
Yeah.
a retrospective?
Yes.
Bruce comes out, Vinny comes out, and they're hugging, and they do it the right way. Can you see that happening for just a one very special, very well produced and put together show for historical sake?
I think Paul and Gene would be open to that, but there were definitely would I love to see it? Of course. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see everybody that's alive, that's been in the band be involved. I think it would be awesome.
Hey,
That's awesome.
Let's give a round of applause to Mr. Ryan Spencer Cook
And Rocky.
and Rocky. Da, 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 da. Now available on Amazon and free to watch on Amazon Prime. It's the Festival Award-winning movie Pinch, featuring my film acting debut. This movie's got love, loss, friendship, and baseball. Play ball. Watch it today.